Welcome back to hiphopnoise. This year has been a sad time for the rap industry, as we've already lost many talented rappers. But what's most surprising to hear is that many of these artists actually predicted their own death. Today, we will be listing 10 rappers who foresaw their own death. And be sure to stay until the end of this video so you don't miss how the rap industry's biggest legend predicted his own death. Number 10, XXXTentacion. Even though it's already been 2 years since X's death, he has still been honoured by fans and other rappers to this day. Many posthumous collabs have popped up since his passing with the likes of Lil Wayne and Lil Pump. What's so shocking about Tentacion's death is that he may have predicted it in his song Sad. In the song he says, "Who am I? Someone that's afraid to let go. You decide if you're ever going to let me know. Yeah. Suicide if you've ever tried to let go." In these lyrics, he's talking about the loss of a loved one, but it can also be interpreted as him wanting to take his own life if he ever lost his girlfriend, which is basically what ended up happening when he died not long after losing his longtime girl. Although it wasn't a suicide, those lyrics are just as haunting, especially considering the fact that in the music video for Sad, X can be seen looking at his own body in a casket. Number 9, Dollar. Another member of the 21 Club is the rapper Dollar, who was shot back in 2009, before he could even release his first album, which would later be released posthumously. One of the tracks on the album, Georgia Nights, where the rapper spoke of his life in Atlanta. In that song, he talks about waking up in the cold sweats, having dreams of going out with a bang, which is already scary enough, but he also adds, "My papa died by the gun, I'll die by the gun." This song is all about Dollar's feeling of impending death. He knew his death was coming. "The clock ticking, bring me closer to fate. Papa died at 25, so he must have been a great. They said the good die young. I must be on the way." Number 8, Mac Miller. In his music video for the song Self-Care, Mac Miller is shown trapped inside a coffin underground. At the end of the song, he escapes, but it's unclear whether the ending is a dream or perhaps the afterlife, and in fact, he never left the coffin. In the song, he talks about not being able to trust anyone, which is in reference to his relationship with Ariana Grande, who bashed him on social media after their breakup, but it also can be applied to himself. After all, it was by his own hand that Mac Miller lost his life. The irony is, after his death, Ariana Grande was very vocal about her mourning his death and even sang a kind of eulogy for him in a song, Thank You Next, where she calls him my angel. Many people saw this as Ariana basically regretting their breakup, and perhaps she thought that if they were still together, Miller would still be with us. But the reality of Mac's problems was his drug addiction, which is something that's very hard to overcome, which can be heard in his songs. It seems he had a lot of pain he was trying to back out and forget all about with drugs, which is never the answer. Number 7, Juice WRLD. Another rapper who died at the age of 21 was Juice WRLD. Juice passed away in December 2019 when he overdosed aboard a private jet. His last posthumous album was released recently, which is good for his fans, but also sad considering it will be his last. Many fellow rappers collaborated to make sure the album could be released to honour Juice WRLD's memory. While Juice didn't predict exactly how his death would go down, he did predict he would die before his 22nd birthday. In his song Legends, he sings, "What's the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21. He references the 27 Club, the long list of people who died at the age of 27, but it's sad to say that more and more talented artists aren't even making past 21 nowadays. He ended up dying only 6 days after his 21st birthday. Number 6, Chinx. You may have heard of rapper French Montana, who is currently very successful in the rap game and other ventures, but you may not remember his old crew, the Coke Boys. One of the Coke Boys was rapper Chinx, who was killed in a drive-by shooting in Jamaica, Queens in 2015. During his association with French Montana and the Coke Boys, Chinx was making a name for himself in the rap game due to the content of his songs. He often rapped about the hard times growing up in a rough area of Queens, New York, but the song that's relevant to his untimely death is the one called Maybe, where he talks about friends of that had died living in a similar lifestyle and how he would probably see them soon. He said, "Certain things in life just go unexplained. Death's a sure thing. Kids left to hold your name. This is for my homies on the other side. We see you short, but try hard not to fuck up my stride." While Chinx died at the age of 31, which is a bit older than the other rappers on this list, it's still just as tragic, and it just goes to show that so many of these artists live their lives with the knowledge that death could come at any moment because of the kind of lifestyles they lead and the culture they're involved in. Number 5, Blade Icewood. Not all rappers on this list were legends of the rap game, and if you look into Blaze Icewood, you'll find that he didn't have international recognition, but in Detroit, he was very much considered a legend. Obviously, Detroit has a special link to rap culture because of the underground rap scene, which is also where Eminem rose to prominence. However, there was a lot of conflict within the Detroit rap scene. In September of 2004, Blade was shot in his home in Michigan with 7 rounds of an AK-47. Despite being left paralysed from the chest down, Ice would refuse to help out the police during the investigation. Less than a year later, Blade would once again be shot at, but this time he wouldn't survive. And what's crazy about this shooting is that in his song All To You, he says, "Next time you better take me out." He put a lot of anger and frustration into this song and was obviously furious about being left paralysed. The gunman probably heard the call out and came back to finish the job. Number 4, Big L. One of the saddest occurrences is when an artist passes away before being able to reach their true potential. This is the case with Lamont Coleman, known as Big L, who passed away at the age of 24, way back in 1999. After making his own beats and tracks as a teenager, he eventually released his first album at the age of 21, and it was clear L was going to become a rising star of the rap game. He would be shot 9 times during a drive-by shooting in Harlem before he was able to release his highly anticipated second album. On that album can be found the song Casualties of a Dice Game, where Big L says, "I got weak and fell on my rear. Now I can hear the sirens. That means here comes the Jakes, but it's too late. I'm not knocking on the pearly gates." Number 3, Proof. This rapper wasn't the only to sing about his own death before it happened. A group of rappers by the name of D12 and even Eminem rapped about Proof passing away. During a collaboration between Proof and D12, Proof raps about dying as a result of getting into a fight in a nightclub. A year later, Eminem released a song called Toy Soldiers, and in the music video, a friend of his is killed in a drive-by in front of a Detroit club. And of course, Proof was killed in a drive-by shooting in front of a Detroit club in 2006. Number 2, Notorious, B.I.G. In the 1990s, 2 rappers dominated the industry. Those were Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G., both of which who would end up dying young. Biggie rapped about his own death more than once, but it's his song, Suicidal Thoughts, where things get eerie, especially considering the song was on an album, Ready to Die. In that song he says, "I'm glad I'm dead. I swear to God, I feel like death is calling me." This song came only a few years before Biggie died in a drive-by shooting in February 1997. And what's even worse is that the murderers were never caught. To this day, it remains an unsolved mystery. Number 1, Tupac Shakur. But of course, perhaps the most famous rapper death of all time was Tupac Shakur's murder back in 1996. After the death of Biggie Smalls a year later, many questioned whether the rap industry could survive the passing of its 2 most respected legends. But what makes Tupac's tragic death even worse is that he seemingly predicted it 2 months before it happened. On the tracks Niggas Done Changed, he sang, "I been shot and murdered, can't tell you how it's happened word for word, but best believe gonna get what they deserve." This is exactly what happened to Tupac as he was leaving an event in Las Vegas. A Cadillac pulled up beside Tupac's vehicle and shot into the passenger seat. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and while you are here, go ahead and click on one of these 2 videos on your screen. See you there.